Okay, I think we are live. So hi everyone, hi, welcome to the 34th SEAstream. If you don't habitually join us for these things, you'll be in need of some introductory information, no doubt, about our project. I'm James, I'm the CEO of SEA. And I am joined today by Dora, who is there. Hi, Dora. And by Wolfgang, our CTO. Hey.
Hello, everybody.
So we're going to be chatting to Wolfgang today about tech, about CTO stuff, about freediving and lots of other things. First of all, a quick bit of information about the project. So we are an environmental non-profit organisation based in Scotland, and we work on blockchain solutions to environmental data problems. We're building a global unified network for environmental data called the SEA Nexus. The idea is that through smartphone apps, web apps, and a bunch of APIs and AIs, we will make it possible for anyone, anywhere in the world to observe their environment and submit that data towards a unified blockchain resource. From there, we can look at that data, we can compare it, we can analyze it, we can filter it, validate it, and we can try to understand a bit better and a bit quicker what's happening to the planet. So that's the basics of it. You can find out everything about our project at sea.earth. That's our new website which went live last week. There's tons of information on there. There's PDF white papers and quick guides to our various tokens and softwares and different projects, different elements of the project, I should say. We operate a cryptocurrency token on BSC, Binance Smart Chain, which contributes to funding the front line of ocean protection as well. So we're partnered with 8 of the world's largest ocean protection organizations. There's Sea Shepherd, Coral Reef Alliance, Oceanic Preservation Society, and many more. So we provide financial resources for them to carry on the amazing work that they do. And that is basically us. We are launching a new token on Algorand blockchain at the end of this month. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about that in the SEAstream next week. So definitely tune in for that. There's going to be a lot of fresh information in there. But you can find out a lot on our website right now, to be honest. There's huge opportunities to get involved with the project over the next couple of weeks that you're not going to want to miss out on. So stay tuned for those. So yeah, this week we're talking about tech in all its forms. We're talking about the tech that we're building. We're talking about the tech that we use. And we're going to be doing all of that thanks to our new CTO, Wolfgang. Hi, Wolfgang.
Hello, everybody.
So we're going to, I guess we should start off, if you could give us like a bit of background on yourself. Maybe first you're from a sort of tech software perspective. What kind of things? Where have you come from? What are you on about?
Okay. The country I'm coming from is Austria. So, and when I start with the tech, we have somebody coming in.
Hang on a second. Right. Hey. So I should have warned everyone about this. So this, we were expecting MJ to join us at some point during today's live stream. MJ is our COO, and he is currently at Crypto Expo Dubai. And we were hoping that he would join us at some point to give us an update. So,
here I am.
There. There he
I
is.
am here. Just give me a second. I might be a bit dark because wait, let me just push up my web. And
yeah, we
here I
can
am.
see you. There you are.
Awesome. How are you guys? So, of course, 1 second. I'm just on the way. Of course, full in team. I'm at the sea in Dubai.
Look at that.
As
Amazing.
you all know,
Amazing.
having a really successful time here. We just finished our first little expo visit here. The next few days will include all the great connections that we made there and what we can get out of it. But there is more coming up. So there is a blockchain summit coming up and so much more, where we will be able to present our projects to those that see the potential from a complete technical side, the blockchain side, how we will implement blockchain to bring the solution needed to our environmental crisis. And it's just a pleasure to be here and an amazing privilege.
Amazing. How much environmental stuff is there at the expo this year? Is there more than usual, do you think? Or
so I was at the big expo. There is, of course, the world. At the big expo, the world is becoming more and more sustainable. The money, the investing, everyone is shifting towards a green portfolio, as you should, to offset their other portfolio. And then at the crypto expo, again, it's a smaller one. There were a few sustainable projects, but this was mostly concentrated on DeFi, the DeFi aspect of crypto. But there were some, and it's good to see them. And they were, of course, to me, the most interesting ones. We connected with them, and we are setting stuff up with them as we speak. And over the next few days, we will be reaping the rewards of our work here. And then, hopefully, over at the 22nd, 23rd, we will be able to go live from the blockchain summit. But this we are still organizing as of now.
amazing. Yeah. We've got so much stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks. It'd be amazing to launch some of it from Blockchain Summit. Absolutely. That sounds like a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So much fun. Actually, right now I'm out with some of our backers, with some of people that are interested in supporting us, not only through monetary means, but beyond that, providing the network. There is some music that might be distracting. I'm just walking that. And overall,
that's great.
Overall, it's just a major successful happening right now here, and it will be even more over the next days.
Amazing stuff.
All right.
And well,
Awesome.
you better go and buy them some drinks then.
I'm gonna buy me some drinks probably.
Awesome.
The benefits of being a non-profit.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. And now
right.
off to Wolfgang and the amazing tech side of our project. I wish you the most fun, guys. I miss you.
Thank you for
coming. Hey, there he is. Hey, Wolfgang. How is it going? Wie geht's?
We just started. Alles okay.
Very good. Then I hand it off
right.
to you, our wonderful CTO. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good time.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
MJ, our COO there in Dubai at the Crypto Expo. Great stuff. He's definitely blatantly getting on some kind of boat and drinking some kind of cocktails.
Don't say it.
Well, the perils of being a crypto COO, I guess. Where were we?
We were at the tech part, so my intro into tech.
Yeah.
Was...
Yeah. So.
How early do we start? We start with Lego building? No.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I mean, my tech education started with the age of 14. That was electrical engineering, robotics in this direction. And then at the age of 19, I moved to Vienna because I'm Austrian and started there to study informatics, so IT. And actually, I liked it, but I wanted to have some kind of combination with some other field. So what I was doing is I was choosing psychology as my main study. But in psychology, it's not just dealing with people and their problems. There is also applied psychology. and I kind of swung them back to technology, which is where I landed in usability. So usability was the first study I made, and then at the same time also my work afterwards in both research projects and also in commercial projects. And usability, for the people who don't know, is a very wide field. It's everything from making mobile devices easy usable up to making a pilot's workplace in a way that it's easier for him, that he cannot make so easily mistakes. So it's a very wide field. And why it's interesting for me is because you deal with the technology, but you have to see it from the point of view from humans. And this is what technology in the end is made for.
That's amazing. Yeah. So looking at the sort of interface between technology and people, essentially, and people's minds.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. Wow. So how have you applied that sort of professionally before your position at SEA? What kind of things were you doing in your professional life?
Different
tech
kind of
type
project.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, different kind of projects. Some of the interesting projects, for example, were like in VR, virtual reality. And that was projects where to train firefighters in virtual environments to get an understanding of a building. Let's say you have an atomic power plant, you cannot go inside to do training. You put these firefighters into a virtual environment, you let them explore the building, the virtual building, and in case there should be really one day an accident and they have to go into the building, they know exactly where the exits are, directions, and this was kind of one of the most interesting studies.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's great. Wow. I can imagine 100 uses for that kind of thing. So
yes, exactly.
Wow. Amazing. And then I guess moving away from the tech side of things, you have quite a lot of experience with the sea as well.
Yes, that started roughly at the same time when I studied in Vienna, and basically it was just snorkeling I did. But then I realized that I'm not only talented, but that also that's a sport when you snorkel and you go down deeper and longer. And then I came into contact with freediving. So this is then the next love part in my life, the ocean, exploring it on one breath of air. So I was both organizing competitions in Austria, I was joining competitions in Austria, also internationally. And it was a very interesting time, which also then made me decide in the year 2006, living in a landlocked country like Austria, you only can dive in cold lakes. So which made me decide 2006 to move to the Philippines in Southeast Asia, which is the opposite. So it's having no land neighbor countries, the opposite of being landlocked, kind of.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to ask, where do you dive in Austria? Lakes, presumably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Amazing. So then you started diving, you were organizing, did you carry on organizing competitions in the Philippines, or did you?
Both diving myself, also doing competitions, and one maybe that is very remarkably was when I was in the Philippines, I heard of the local freedivers. So local freedivers meaning it's an indigenous group which used to live before only on boats. So they were eating, sleeping, doing everything only on boats. In the meantime, they are kind of semi-nomadic, so they have also houses on land. And I heard that some of them are very talented freedivers. And I went to very remote places to meet some of them, to dive with them, to fish with them. And that was very interesting and made me also to decide then to have this kind of, beside my business side, I always have this kind of as my social responsibility project. So over the time of more than 5 years, it started with a competition. So what we did is we showed the international freediving competition, which is now sportive people all around the world who use high-tech equipment. We showed them that we organize a competition only with these indigenous divers. They were diving using wooden fins, self-made goggles, no high-tech equipment, nothing at all. And they were going to incredible depths. So we got a big media attention for this competition of these indigenous divers. And it was very nice because it showed the Philippines that there is some traditional historical roots which they have to preserve, which they can be proud of. Because other than that, sadly in the Philippines, due to a very long, more than 300 years Spanish colonization, there's not so many traditions preserved, let's say like in Thailand or some other surrounding countries. And we really managed to spotlight now this special tradition of the sea gypsies to, show the country what they have.
I watched your documentary. I was so impressed by these people. Like their children are born and immediately they start diving, you know, and it's like diving is everything for them because they're fishing, right? And they don't even eat the fish that they're fishing because they're selling it. So yeah, it's crazy. And someone was saying, I was very impressed. Someone was saying, oh, they need more education. Oh, you need more education. Like, you need them to educate you how to dive, you know, from the moment you're born to be one with the water.
And coming to the environmental aspects now, it's also they are very affected. To give you some ideas, an average fisherman, we speak now of this is very small scale fishing. So one person going out with a small boat without engine, just using some simple lines to fish. He used, they caught an average of around maybe 10 kilo per day, which some of them they ate, some of them they sold to get other things. But in the last 10 years, they told me it went down to sometimes less than 3 kilo.
Wow.
So he's coming home with less than 3 kilo, barely being able to buy enough rice for his family. So yeah, so also they are affected by the environmental problems we face on the planet.
Yes. Now, yeah, animals also don't have enough fish, and
well, overfishing and climate change are really affecting people in drastic ways, aren't they? And you run a dive school, was it? And is it a dive school or is it? Yeah. Okay.
A freediving school. Yeah.
Freediving.
It was a freediving school. With the other part, we made still some software projects and IT projects. Yeah.
Amazing. So essentially the perfect profile for a CTO.
Yes, that's why I was very happy to come on board.
Yeah, amazing. That's great. I guess we should talk a bit about, because we've changed, like as a CTO, you're responsible not just for sort of imagining the tech that we want to make, but also for thinking about the tech that we need to use as a company. So thinking about what tools we use for everything from like scheduling to file sharing to security to and you've had quite a big impact on that already, I think. Definitely from my perspective, since you started, we've done a lot. We've set up a lot of stuff, haven't we?
Yeah. I think that's one of the challenges that come now with the whole distributed workspace. Many people working remotely is that you kind of have to adjust to how it has been done before in offices. Because before in offices, you went to somebody and asked him, okay, where do I find this? Where do I find that? And that's just one example now. Everybody's sitting at home in office. I tried in the beginning to make sure that everybody knows where is which information stored. And that was, for example, through having a very clear, organized structure in Google Drive, that everybody knows where he can get this information. At the same time, also with security inbuilt, meaning permissions, who is allowed to access which data. That was one of the first steps. Then DORA, we made a big version 2 of Asana. Asana is a task tool for everybody, so that everybody, even being not in a common office, clearly knows what are his assigned tasks. Which is not easy also. Yeah. Setting it up and
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, and sort of you've been responsible for the onboarding of staff as well, haven't you? In terms of technology, to make sure everybody's familiar with the tools that we use to get people to hit the ground running. And I think that's quite important.
Yeah, it's underestimated, because if you work for a longer time in a company, you know everything, you know how things work, but it's always hard for the new ones. So make it as easy as possible for them to find documentation, what they need to learn, what they need to do, where they find things, to make this nice package, onboarding package.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I think it was our copyright. I can't remember who exactly it was. It might have been Lydia, our copywriter. Just said, I can't believe how organized you guys are. Wolfgang's just, when she started work, it was, I think, literally just a few days before she was fully fluent in all of the tech that we use.
Wolfgang helped with our file organization, came up with a brand new structure, and it was like Austrian order.
Yeah, absolutely. And security it was good timing, actually, because we had problems with like a Twitter hack and stuff like that briefly, which thankfully there was no damage done. But in reaction to that, you set up some pretty solid security across all our stuff.
The number one security issue for companies is always the human factor, and human factor means passwords. Yeah. So basically passwords getting too easily shared in emails or somewhere else. So we use the password management tool, which once and for all saves all security issues regarding passwords.
Yeah, everything's really tight now. It's good. I can sleep soundly at night knowing that. Yeah, amazing stuff. And then I guess moving on from the tools that we use to the tool that we are making. The other big part of your work since you started has been in helping us to just really sort of define and refine what the SEA Nexus is, what it does, how it's going to work. And I think the biggest bit of work that we've done so far is on the data classes, right? We've spent hours and hours on this, and I think you, of all people, have spent the most time researching and looking at standardization of environmental data and stuff like that. Could you maybe talk us through the process of how we've got to where we are with the data classes?
Not going too deep into tech, but let's maybe start a little bit. Where is the data actually coming from? So one of the first starting points was citizen science projects. So citizen science projects, for everybody who's not aware, means that where usually paid scientists are doing some research to get data, you involve citizens to both in the collection of the data, but sometimes also in the analytics of the data to contribute. And these projects were then for us very important. Why? Because we realized there is now a big change which allows us to gather environmental data in a relatively easy way, and this is the use of smartphones. Meaning there is correct me if I'm wrong, 6.3 billion smartphones on the planet. Yes. Yeah. And some of these citizen science projects use smartphones already to collect data, but in a very simple and primitive way. So it's just making pictures of nature, and then somebody has to additionally identify this picture, or people are entering some data. So it's actually, the tool is there, but it's not really made use of in the best possible way to gather, to analyze data, to make things automatic. And this is then where James said, this is now where we can go in. Having all these people who can contribute the data, we develop a system to also reward them. This is then the token system with the VC. So we have a system to reward the people. And even better, the data is not just stored in one unique place. We call this centralized storage. Maybe if you have heard of Amazon or other Microsoft companies, they have big server farms. And this is where all the data is kind of stored in one space. And there's even from the European Union big steps now, or big research done, that they want to go away. So all scientists want to go away from having their data stored centrally. They look for alternatives, and this is now where the blockchain, having distributed systems, decentralized, come into play. So we are combining now, getting all the data from the smartphone users and storing it in a decentralized system. And additionally, we have then also the blockchain, which makes it immutable. Immutable means the English word is tamper-proof. Correct me if I'm wrong, James?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What does this mean? Tamper-proof means nobody can afterwards say, oh, this data was not correct, or you're presenting us the wrong information. No, because we can show them with our Nexus up to the measurement on the smartphone in a tamper-proof way where this data came from, what it means, and what the consequences are. So it's a complete chain from the measurement up to saying, okay, careful, these environmental systems or these variables now seem to be out of control. We have to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess thinking about smartphones and smartphone sensors and what smartphones can do has been a big part of the research as well, right? It's been, that was kind of the almost the starting point. There have been so many starting points and they've converged in so many different ways, like a Nexus. Smart device capabilities have been important, right?
And coming back to the question with the data classes, what does this mean now, data classes in this context? Data classes means what can you basically measure with a smartphone, or going further then, beside the smartphone data pool, we will have also data coming from external sensors. That can be either sensors still attached with the smartphone or complete separate sensors. And even further, you can have data then from any kind of research. So if any kind of research institute is doing some study, having some data, instead of storing them on their local hard drives or somewhere in the Google Cloud, they say, no, we want to have it safe, tamper-proof, stored. They can use our Nexus and deliver us the data via an API. But we had to somehow now look what kind of data is coming in here. And this is when we saw we need to make kind of, we call it the data classes. And a simple example, a data class was, what could this be? Data class could be the wind speed. Yeah, the wind speed in a certain location. But actually, we don't want to limit ourselves to a certain amount of data classes. We just use them to develop the system, but the system will be completely extendable. Meaning, if then a scientist is coming here, but we measure now radioactivity, they will be also able to use Nexus to add their own data class, submit the data inside, and have it stored with us.
Yeah, amazing. So it's completely modular in a way that can be expanded, can be added upon by anyone, in fact.
Did you know, for example, just in January this year in New Zealand, the Department of, I think it's called Agriculture or Fisheries, they decided that till the year of 2024 or 25, all fishing boats in New Zealand have to have CCTV cameras on board. Why? They want to monitor that the right fish is caught, that nothing violates the practices of fishing. And now you get an idea. There's a lot of data coming. And also when we speak now about video or image data, keep in mind that we are another big area where there have been big improvements today is the image recognition, meaning automatically getting information out of video or images that can be used then for analytics. This is one of the favorite topics also from James. And yeah.
Yeah, totally. The computer vision is a amazing tool for everything from species observation to not just species observation. We've talked a lot about species measurement as well. So you can not only say that's an elephant, you can say that elephant is 200 kilos or whatever. Yeah. How heavy are elephants? I don't know.
For what is the whole data used? We have, in general, the data is free for everybody to use, except when it's for commercial. And so there will be a licensing system that companies or other entities can purchase specific data.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a really important point as well, because whilst the primary focus of the SEA Nexus is to solve this problem and to make environmental big data useful for the fight against climate change and environmental degradation generally. No planet B. There's no planet B. It's also we need to make money as well, just to sustain the project, to keep it going. So it's important to talk about that as well, that these data licenses that we will be selling to commercial organizations for commercial reasons, they're going to make money, so we should make money. And that's going to trickle down through the project as well. Yeah. So, I mean, that's like a kind of a whistle-stop tour through the Nexus and the details of the data classes and stuff like that. Should we do some Twitter questions and see if we can get a bit deeper into any of the specifics?
Yeah.
We're already very deep into the rabbit hole.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right. First question by Ace. Is the SEA Nexus fully functional as of today, or is there more work that needs to be done?
So we're going to be rolling out the SEA Nexus over the course of this year in various alpha, beta stages, heading for the eventual mainnet release. So no is the answer. It's very much still a work in progress. We're currently working towards the proof of concept, which is going to be a very, very basic and not very pretty looking version of the bare bones of operation. But yeah, it's important to understand the different phases. If you're interested in supporting the project, it's important to understand the different phases that we're going to go through this year with the various releases of the Nexus. And you can find all that information on our website, sea.earth. There's a roadmap there with all sorts of dates and things.
Wolfgang, any comments?
But basically, that's it. You have the milestones very good on the website. So you see the proof of concept, the API integration, and then the testnet alpha, and the next steps all coming this year.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of work to do, but we're a big team now. And it's ever growing. So, we're getting through it really quickly. So, yeah.
Next question. Can you please share something about your work with the Bajaos from the Philippines?
Share something.
You already shared a lot, but something exciting, unique.
if you feel that we've already covered any of these questions in what we've already talked about, then we can skip.
Let's go to some new questions.
Yeah.
Next one by Ramiro. What's the first thing you developed when you became part of the SEA team in December 2021?
The Google Drive system you mentioned before.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything in its right place. Yeah.
It's actually a workspace.
True. Yeah. Because it's actually, when you get deep into it, it's more than just Drive, isn't it? It's the email, it's the schedule, the calendar, the security, the groups, the everything about it. It's a pretty complex thing to put in place, especially for a company of our size, which is actually pretty big now. So yeah, that was the first thing. Let's do another one.
Yeah, because some documents can be viewed by some people, other documents can't, and this is why we need the special groups. All right, next one. M4T4. Sensors have been mentioned. Do you plan on having Nexus embedded in data gathering tech, drones, ships, submarines, even action cams? Cool.
Anything that can deliver data can input it into our system. So even when it comes to the Internet of Things, meaning small sensors in your car, small sensors in your home, they
doorbells.
could all be integrated. Sorry, doorbells.
Doorbells. I'm not even kidding. You know, like a ring. We could use rings to see what species are present in urban areas. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a holder who's into drones, and he's really excited about this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that, like Wolfgang said, anything if it can observe and collect data, then absolutely, and that in so many different ways, because that could be cameras on things like doorbells, like internet enabled doorbells.
Requires some legal framework to assure. Yeah, same like for the Google glasses. Not sure what is allowed to record and be used and whatnot.
Yeah, totally. I've got them on now. I'm recording all of them.
No.
But also, aside from photo and video data, there's so many devices that have sensors of all kinds in, like temperature, motion, spectroscopic sensors, things like that, LiDAR sensors, things like that. We're definitely looking into all of that.
Yeah, we actually found, I remember, some really simple device some academics developed for measuring all kinds of stuff of ocean water, like chemical composition and salinity and acidity. So if you just get this device, or we partner with them and connect it to your smartphone, that's our next step.
And like wearables and watches and things like that, they all have loads they're packed with sensors that we can use.
All right.
Okay. Do another one.
Royal Rebel. What are the criteria and educational requirement needs to guide someone on the path of becoming a great CTO?
Staying up to date with latest developments, educational requirements, so at least some good tech background. It also helps if you have been for yourself been an entrepreneur, so that you have seen all aspects that come together, that you have an understanding for example, for the owner's decisions, that you can know how to give suggestions and so forth. That's an additional thing which I think can contribute, since I have experiences having also had my own company before, but there is no, how would you say, no formal requirements. So there's no study which says study to become a CTO.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's about usefulness, isn't it? And there's so much technology that you could implement, but should you implement it, and how useful is it? And I think definitely having an understanding of how businesses work and how companies work and how teams work especially is really important, definitely.
I think also Wolfgang has shown amazing research skills. Like he can dive into a subject for days and days, and
it helps when you have a university background.
I found this amazing thing, and we were like, wow, great find.
Yeah.
All right, next one by Shadow. Do you guys make use of public environmental data?
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, it's not there. We in some very, very early incarnations of the ideas behind the Nexus, we were thinking about how, if there's data which is widely available already, the classic example is like weather data, like air temperature. It's widely available everywhere, and there are APIs with fairly high rate limits that you can hit up and pull in global air temperature data. And we thought about that, and we thought it's probably worth having it in there. But then we started to sort of wrestle with it a bit, and we were thinking, well, is it actually useful to have this data if it's already everywhere? Or, are we contributing anything just by replicating it? Is there any value to it being on blockchain? And it's a valid question. I think in some cases the answer is not really. In some cases the answer is yes. So I think the final solution that we come up with of the Nexus is it will involve some elements of public environmental data blended with the data that we get through our apps. And but I think critically though, it's all public environmental data really, because we're writing it to blockchain, the public are providing it, and we're writing it to blockchain, the public will access it. Everything we do is public environmental data really. So yeah.
I think when we were giving points to different data classes for the MVP, one of the main criteria we used was, is it useful? Data that you can get anywhere wouldn't change the world. So we want to really focus on meaningful data, right, James?
Yeah, totally. And if we, sometimes there may be, because just to very briefly describe one of the functions of the back end of the Nexus, which is going to be looking at different data sets and comparing changes in different data sets to changes in other data sets to try and find correlations with a view to maybe being able to pull causations out of that with the help of human eyes on the data. So when you start thinking about those functions, it may be useful to have inside the Nexus some data which is already available elsewhere, because then we can compare it to the data which we've gathered. So there are instances when it could be really useful to have pre-existing data streams in the Nexus. So that's one of the reasons why we would consider that.
Yeah, after all, we can, at some point when the AI is up and running, we can really make a lot of interconnections. I think one of the biggest problems with people believing that climate change exists is that people just don't understand how weather and climate systems relate to each other. And if you tell them the jet stream is slow, they're like, oh, prove it, or oh, how do you know? So we will show people all these interconnections and the AI will prove it, and then you won't be like, how do you know?
Yeah, totally.
Just to maybe, since it's a little bit very techy now, to give you again a view back what we talked before. Let's say that I told you about the Badiaus who catch less fish now. They all have smartphones. So even being relatively poor, they all have smartphones. So if we would have them then in Nexus contributing their daily catch, and we have data, how much they catch, and if we use then, like what James mentioned, other existing environmental data like ocean temperature or acidification or something, maybe we find then a connection and we find out why is suddenly the catch getting lower. Just give an example, a concrete example that people understand what this means now with data classes. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think actually that relates to another question that I saw on the Twitter. I don't know if we would have time to get to that, but it was about the role of a CTO in a company when it comes to less technologically developed countries. But I think, you know, for the technology we're talking about here, it's absolutely pervasive. That's the good thing, right? Yeah.
Internet of green things.
Dora, what is the name of the game where in the Philippines the people earn money now by playing it?
What is it?
This game that a lot of people in the Philippines play, and they have like big documentaries about it. It's like a Pokemon style game or something on your smartphone, and they earn money with it.
Like a play to earn thing, yeah.
Yeah, play to earn thing. And if you see this now, that even in poor countries, many people have smartphones, if they contribute, instead of playing, if they contribute environmental data and earn money with this.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. I don't know if we mentioned that one of the data sets is earthquakes. And if you're sleeping and your phone is vibrating next to your head, not that it's a very happy occasion, but you know, you still earn money while you sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. As long as it's not moving too much, then you need to get worried.
Yeah, there was a huge earthquake near Fukushima like 2 days ago. Crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next
Let's do another one.
How can anyone supply environmental data to the SEA Nexus?
First of all, join our community on our website, sea.earth. There is a section, join the community, because then you will be one of the first ones to get updates and be included in the testing maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a few different ways to get involved there, but at the very simplest level, just state your email address in there, and you'll get links to download apps as soon as they're available. And then in the future, it's the apps which provide that solution. People are going to get involved by downloading the app onto their phone and using it to supply data directly into the SEA Nexus and get rewards for doing that, like we just said, make money.
Yeah, so if the question is simply how, we actually did a lot of research. Wolfgang did a lot of research on how the app should look like. So yeah, there's going to be many actions like uploading a photo or uploading the wind speed through the microphone of your phone. So all of this needs to be put in wireframes, and how you supply the data. Maybe there'll be different apps even, but yeah, still developing.
I always think of it as there used to be this PS1 game called Bishi Bashi, which was like a suite of, it was like a Japanese classic, and it was a suite of like 100 tiny games, and each one had a very simple action that you carry out, but they were super addictive and really fun. And I think the eventual SEA Nexus app is going to be like that. It's going to be, each data class will be a sort of a game itself within the SEA Nexus app. But each one is a different activity that will be easy and fun and massively rewarding. So, yeah.
All right, next one. By official boss. Does a CTO need to be equipped with basic training about scuba diving? Yeah, that's our question. Or their work is only centered about the tech project.
No scuba, no CTO.
Especially for sea. It was a requirement.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I specifically requested that you did your job interview in the scuba mask.
You didn't know, James, that actually I'm a certified scuba instructor. Both freediving and scuba. So I'm a petty scuba instructor, so I can teach anybody to dive also with the equipment, the tanks.
Yeah,
cool.
Amazing. And it's true, I had no idea until after we hired you that you did any of this stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, we are attracting the right people. Yeah, I think that maybe freediving would be a better CTO like training because of the meditation and the breathing, because Wolfgang is a super calm person, always super personable. Everyone feels very calm around him. So this meditation and breathing help.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do another one.
Yeah. Is it not safer to scuba dive rather than free dive?
It's a good question.
It's a typical question that arises when you teach freediving, that people are more scared. Some are more scared of freediving, some are more scared of scuba diving. In general, done recreationally, it's about following rules. So it's nothing different than learning how to drive a car. If you follow the rules, it's safe. And 99% of accidents happen exactly because people did something wrong on purpose or because they didn't follow the rules. So when it comes to scuba and freediving, I would say both are safe. Some say that even maybe freediving is more safe because no equipment can fail. The scuba diver can run out of air, but I have my lungs with me. So when I run out of air as a free diver, I just go up to the surface again.
I think this question comes because of so many people like losing consciousness.
Also it could happen that you lose consciousness, especially if you push yourself too hard in freediving or in competitions. But we have very strict regulations there and procedures, safety procedures. So in all the time that I'm freediving, I never saw somebody diving if they followed the procedures, even if you would get unconscious. Also happened to me one time.
What's the feeling like?
It's like falling asleep, also meaning that you don't have a warning signs that you still could help yourself. So it's just like falling asleep. You cannot say at this point you fell asleep. It's just a gradual, slowly drifting. But if your body is there to help you, he just grabs you, pulls you out of the water, and everything is fine again.
How do they wake you up?
You wake up by yourself.
Out of the water?
Yes.
By breathing, yeah.
Yeah, get some oxygen in you.
Yeah. All right, next one. Are there future plans for Sea token on BSC network?
James?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, Sea on the BSC network has done a brilliant job so far of supporting our partners, funding our research. It's been a remarkably resilient token over the crazy times that we've seen since last spring. And it will continue to be. And there's plenty of new stuff coming through it. Check the roadmap on the website. There's some stuff in there. But there'll be different interactions between the BSC token and the Algorand token. And we're looking at things like sustainable merch and how that can be used with C token. Yeah, definitely. There's big stuff coming through it.
Are the NFTs going to be on BSC?
Yeah, we're looking at a few different models. We're looking at mostly combined models. So BSC will be part of it. C token BSC will be part of it. Yeah, so it's important. I think we should bring this up right now as well, because it's timely that holders of the BSC token will get a 1-to-1 ratio airdrop of VC when we launch the new Algorand token VC at the end of this month. So that's just crazy free money. That's just double overnight, 100%. Essentially. Yeah, it's a 100% bonus overnight. There are vesting periods. Check it all out on the website. But yeah, it's really worth looking into right now. And like I said, it's timely. We're not going to be doing this for very long, so get involved.
All right, one more question. How does the SEA Nexus plan to distribute the large amount of environmental data?
How much are we allowed to say, James? It's a peer-to-peer network. That's something we can say. So if you think of your file sharing, I think somebody told me once, it's 30% of the worldwide data volume is peer-to-peer file sharing. So where people exchange movies or audio. So it's a massive amount of data now just used for videos, and we are using a similar system for the environmental data.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're, I guess there's two elements to this question. If we're talking about distribution in terms of like in a technical term, data distribution, then yeah, I think we have already talked in a previous SEAstream about the Interplanetary file system. So we can say those words. So yeah, we're going to be using a combination of the Algorand blockchain and the Interplanetary file system. So if that's what you mean by this question, how technically will we distribute the data, then it's going to involve those two things. But I think also there's the question of dissemination of the data. So how, once we've gathered it, once we've analyzed it, once we've figured out what it means, how do we get it out there? How do we get it to the media, to the public, to research departments, to government departments? And I think the answer to that is very much in the fact that what we're building is going to be the most useful data source for environmental data on the planet. It's going to be the most comprehensive through the APIs as well as the app, having the general public augmenting the data feeds of some of the biggest data gathering operations in the world through the API. It's going to be incredibly useful. So people are going to come to us. That's the idea. And just the fact that we're going to make it so easy to access. It's on blockchain. It's open. It's people can build their own solutions on top of the Nexus, essentially. So things like early warning systems, things like analytics, all kinds of new applications we can encourage people to build on top of it. Yeah, I don't think dissemination will I think it's something which will just cascade.
Take over the world.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of all we've got time for, really.
Yeah, so many questions. Sorry, we couldn't answer all of them.
Yeah, we did get loads and loads of questions, possibly because we accidentally posted 2 question threads this time. Maybe we should post 3 next time, get even more questions.
And we can announce the winners. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Let's.
Winners. So it's the first 5 questions. Ace, Dewey, Joey, Ramiro, M4, T4, and Royal Rebel. Congratulations.
Thanks so much for all the questions, though. Those 5 were awesome, but they were all amazing. So, yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in and listening to us blather on. And we hope you've enjoyed it and found it informative. Thank you to Dora for joining us as always. And thanks, Wolfgang, for telling us all about your incredible stuff. All right, then.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
See you all again soon.
See
you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.